How did a people's car become one of the biggest giants in the world? Now I'm going to tell you the story of a brand that rose from the ashes. But not one of those typical stories like founded in this year, sold this many cars. This is the story of a brand that saw wars, was rejected, was once offered for free and still refused, yet ended up conquering the world. This is the story of Volkswagen. Today, when we hear the name Volkswagen, we don't think of just one car brand. We think of Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini, Bugatti, Bentley, Skoda. But here's the interesting part. This massive empire started with a small, slow car. And one single idea. A car that everyone can afford. Let's go back to the 1930s. Back then, owning a car in Europe was a luxury. Cars were considered toys for the rich. For the average person, owning a car was just a dream. But one man couldn't stop thinking about it. His name was Ferdinand Porsche. Today when we hear Porsche, we think of supercars. But Ferdinand Porsche's dream was completely different. This man had built electric cars at a very young age, experimented with front-wheel drive, introduced the idea of hybrid engines. He was a true engineer ahead of his time. But his real obsession was simple: a car for the people. Not for the rich, not for collectors, for ordinary people. Porsche took this idea to major car manufacturers of the time, and every single one of them gave the same answer. It won't work. Who would buy this? There's no profit in it. He was rejected again and again, until he finally said, "I'll do it myself." But there was one big problem: money. In 1933, Ferdinand Porsche's path crossed with Adolf Hitler. And it's important to pause here and say this. At that time, Hitler was not viewed the way he is today. Many people saw him as someone who would rebuild Germany. Hitler had grand plans, autobahns, racing cars, engineering projects to showcase German power. And Porsche's idea fit perfectly into that vision. With Hitler's support, Porsche designed a car that everyone could afford. The result was the car we know today as the Beetle. This car wasn't fast, flashy, but it was durable, reliable, easy to maintain, fuel-efficient. A true people's car. In 1937, a new company was founded to produce it, Volkswagen, literally the people's car. Everything was going well. Orders were coming in. People were waiting for their cars. Then came 1939. World War II broke out. All plans were put on hold. The Volkswagen factories stopped producing civilian cars and switched to military vehicles. During the war, the factory was bombed multiple times, and when the war ended, Volkswagen was almost completely destroyed. This part is unbelievable. After the war, an unexploded bomb was found inside the factory, right next to the main power supply. If it had detonated, Volkswagen's story would have ended right there. But it didn't. After the war, Ferdinand Porsche was arrested for collaborating with the Nazi regime. He was 72 years old. It looked like everything was over. But the story wasn't finished yet. This time, an Englishman enters the story. Major Ivan Hurst. He looks at the ruined Volkswagen factory and says, "This place can work." The factory is rebuilt. R for the German Postal Service. And then comes the irony. The American automotive giant Ford is offered Volkswagen for free. Ford's response? This company has no future. They refuse. Looking back today, it's unbelievable. From the 1950s onward, Beetle sales explode, especially in the United States. At first, no one takes it seriously. Then people realize something. This car just doesn't break. In the 1960s, the Beetle becomes a symbol of the hippie movement, a rebellion against big American cars, and sales skyrocket. In 1955, the 1 millionth Beetle rolls off the production line. The success of the Beetle gives Volkswagen power. New models arrive, Golf, Polo, and acquisitions begin, Audi, SEAT, Skoda, and then things get serious. Over time, Volkswagen adds Bentley, Lamborghini, Bugatti, Porsche, its portfolio. Think about that. A company that made the Beetle now makes Bugattis. And it doesn't stop with cars. Ducati motorcycles, commercial vehicles, trucks, Volkswagen becomes a full-scale automotive empire. Today, Volkswagen is employing over 600,000 people, operating in more than 150 countries, producing around 10 million vehicles per year. And it doesn't just make cars anymore. It's also involved in finance, loans, insurance. In 2015, the Dieselgate scandal erupts. It's revealed that emissions tests were manipulated. Volkswagen's value drops by nearly $30 billion overnight. A dark and shameful chapter in the company's history. But once again, Volkswagen survives. At the end of this story, one question remains. Was Ferdinand Porsche just focused on engineering, or was he a part of the system? Sure. But one thing is certain. A great engineer, a massive legacy, a complicated history. The story of Volkswagen shows us this. Sometimes, great brands are born from wars, mistakes, rejection. And sometimes, a people's car changes the world.